What is up guys, Andy Forrestine Runner here, and today we're talking all about those longer term shoe reviews, including the Asics Novablast, the Brooks HYPERION Tempo, and of course, the Saucony ENDORPHIN Pro. So welcome back to another video, and today I want to focus on those longer term shoe reviews. A lot of you might remember that in the beginning of the year, in fact actually at the end of last year, I made a pact with myself and said there's just not enough bigger mileage shoe reviews out there on YouTube. As a shoe reviewer myself, I know how easy it is and enjoyable it is to grab new shoes, test them out, get them to a certain limit and then move on to the next shoe. But I kind of felt like, especially with the Brooks HYPERION Tempo, it really came to life after the 100-mile mark, which is kind of where I tend to give you guys an update and then put the shoes away and move on to the next one. So what I decided to do this year, as I said, I made a pact with myself that the shoes that I really got on with, the shoes that I've really enjoyed, I would take further, I would take bigger and better, and then give you guys updates along the way. And the three shoes that we're going to be talking about today is the Novablast, the HYPERION Tempo, and of course the ENDORPHIN Pro. And at the end, when we talk about the Pro, I'm going to give you a little bit of a dilemma that I'm facing with this shoe. If you're excited for today's updates, guys, make sure you give the video a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll kickstart with the Novablast. So kicking things off with shoe of the year 2020, and still the shoe to be in my opinion as we move into 2021. This thing set the bar high last year and I'm yet to find a shoe that has topped this quality. Now, the last update you saw on this shoe was 300 miles. We now have 393 miles in the shoe. We are one run away from tipping this over the 400-mile mark. And don't worry, I won't spam you with another video, but I just feel like I want to give you an update and just showcase the quality of this shoe. This is still a very runnable shoe. In my personal scenario, I've now retired these to my walking shoes. However, I will still get that one run in to get them over the 400-mile mark. But let me tell you, they're still very runnable and they're still causing me no issues, and they are built like an absolute tank. In terms of the wear and tear, as always, there is just not one tear or fray on the upper. The only thing that I have is this here, and I had this after I think it was in a 200-mile shoe review update, so it's been there for a while, but it's not got any bigger, which is fantastic. So in terms of the upper, it's just holding up so well. Some minor fraying and snagging here, but really it's nothing at all. The midsole is still absolutely incredible. So bouncy, so cushioned, so soft. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I've retired them to my walking shoes, because they're just so comfy. I want to get as much out of these shoes as I can, and I feel like if I continue and move them into my walking, then I'm going to get so much more life out of them. And in terms of wear and tear on the outsole, we've got a little bit of wear and tear here, and I think we've got a little bit of wear and tear on the outer heel here when my form gets a bit sloppy. But on the whole, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this shoe is just standing up to the test of time. So what can I say with this shoe? I can tell you that if you invest your hard-earned money in this shoe, it's going to last you such a long time. I'm moving on to the Brooks HYPERION Tempo, the marathon training shoe of this block for me. This thing, as I said on multiple occasions, has absolutely come to life after 100 miles, and it was just by chance that I decided in the beginning of the year, when I said I want to do some longer term shoe reviews, that I got out all my shoes, I went for a run in each and every one of them, and this one just went, yes, this is the one. And this has top trumped the Saucony ENDORPHIN Speed for the whole marathon training block. I got the Speed out for one of those runs and that was it. It's not seen the light of day since. The last update you saw on this shoe was 200 miles, I believe. We're now at 280 miles, 20 miles away from 300. And once again, let me tell you, this is a premium price shoe, but you are going to get the durability that you deserve with this shoe. Once again, the midsole is holding up so well. It's not lost any of its snappiness or bounce for for me, and it is still my go-to marathon training shoe. And with 3.5 weeks left of marathon training, or just over 3.5 weeks, this is still going to get plenty more outings. In terms of wear and tear, once again, wow, in fact, unlike the Novablast, there's absolutely no snags in the upper of this shoe. There's a little bit of fading on the colour. That's about it. Literally, it is just holding up so well. Midsole, as you can see, is just super, super, super. It's super, super, super. And on the outsole, there's just no signs of wear and tear. It's a little bit scuffed here and there, but it's not wearing down anywhere. I mean, this shoe, just like the Novablast, is built to last. Now, when this shoe came out, it raised a lot of eyebrows with the price, £140. I still think it's holding its value. And for me, I have to say, it is 100% bang for your buck. You know, sometimes you pay that price for a shoe and you're disappointed. This thing has not disappointed. I've reserved this thing predominantly for moderate runs. It's very good at easy runs as well, but I haven't tend to use it for easy runs. So moderate runs and those marathon pace workouts, and even those interval workouts, and even long runs. Literally, I have done everything in this shoe. This has become a jack of all trades marathon shoe, but a lot, if you've been following the marathon training series, the Canova style workouts I've been doing has been this thing's absolute sweet spot. And finally, we move on to the ENDORPHIN Pro. There are two reasons why this thing is in this video. Number one, the mileage update, and number two, the dilemma that this shoe is putting me in. But we'll come to that in a second. Let me give you a very quick mileage update. So in terms of mileage, it's not as bigger and drastic of an update as the others. However, as a racing shoe, I do feel like you should give more, not quicker, but you should give more regular updates on them, because obviously racing shoes have that label that they're not going to last as long as regular trainers. And I kind of wanted to give you a bit of a reassurance that once again, I think you're going to get bang for your buck with the ENDORPHIN Pro. So the last update you saw was 100 miles. At the moment, we're on 137. So we're well up and above 100 miles. And I'm pretty confident in saying that this shoe, you're going to still feel as good as new, well up and over 200 miles. I'd like to think 300 miles is going to be a really good sweet spot for this shoe. And for a racing shoe, I feel that's really decent. I can safely say that after 137 miles, this thing is absolutely holding its own and still feels as good as new. So as I said, not quite such a drastic mileage increase, but let me explain about the dilemma I'm in. Just before we get to that, once again, absolutely no snags, no wear and tear issues. This thing is holding firm nicely. Again, on the outsole, albeit rather dirty, it is looking in fantastic condition. Now, to the dilemma. This thing is creeping up in mileage, but still feels very, very good. And the reason it's creeping up in mileage is because I've been using this for a few workouts and time trials during this marathon training block. We did a 10-mile, 10K and a 10-mile time trial in this shoe. I think it was those two. It was definitely the 10-mile. Was it the half? I can't remember what it was, but we've done two. It might have been the 10K and the 10-miler. Either way, this shoe has been a trusty race shoe of mine over the last year and a half during the time trials and through this marathon training block. Recently, just this weekend, we did 15 by a K in this shoe, and once again it delivered phenomenally. And it got me thinking, am I making the right decision using the next percents for my race when I've been getting on with the shoe so well? And the reason that conundrum has come into my head is because my previous run in the next percents, which was last weekend, not the weekend just gone, the one before, was my 40k long run, and I actually did indeed get some Achilles pain. If you watch that vlog, you will see I was complaining around 15 to 18 miles. The next percents were rather giving me grief. Now, it could have been a one-off. I've never had that issue with the next percents before, and we have indeed got those to 100 miles as well. However, I have to say, it did plant the seed of doubt in my mind, and this thing has been Mr. or Mrs. consistent throughout this whole training block. So the question now in my mind is, am I making that right decision by using the next percent, or should I be using this shoe considering it still feels so good after the 137 mile mark, and I think it's going to still feel great after the 150 and 200. And hopefully I'm going to be answering that question after the next week or so, where I will hopefully be taking the next percents out once more on a bigger workout to see how they get on and see if they cause me any grief. That does mean that the next percents will again increase in mileage, and it really then will come down to if I get any grief, and if it was just a one-off with the next percents, and how both of the shoes feel after the higher mileage. So realistically, the Next Percents are going to have around 150 and 120 miles come race day, and this thing is going to have around 150. So it then starts to come up to, what do I feel comfortable in? What's been successful and worked for me? And what do I feel is going to give me the best chance of running the time that I want to? I've always said this shoe is the most comfier out of the two. It's just I'm more efficient in the Next Percents. So that's my conundrum. So there we go, that's my longer term shoe update for those 3 shoes, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing about how they're doing. And of course I wanted to share that sort of dilemma that I have at the moment. It's just being realistic with you guys. It genuinely is something that I wanted to have sorted by this time. I wanted to know exactly what I was going to be wearing, and as I said, due to recent circumstances, these things have just thrown things into the mix and made me second guess myself. So more testing is going to be happening over the next week or two to really determine and nail down what my racing shoe is going to be. But in terms of mileage, I hope you guys have appreciated just hearing about how these 3 shoes are doing, how they're doing so well, and really if you're looking to invest your money in any of these 3 shoes, you are going to get bang for your buck. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of these 3 shoes and what mileage you've got them to, and what time you kind of started to find them going a little bit flat, or how amazed you've been at how long they've gone. And actually let me know in the comments below what your best shoe is in terms of mileage. What's the biggest mileage you've got out of any shoe? It'd be great to get that discussion going, and hopefully as the year progresses get more of these longer term shoe reviews out, because I do feel, as I said, there is a gap in the market for this sort of thing. I do feel like the knowledge is there. People want to know that they're investing their money in something that's going to take them over 100 miles, which is a video you might commonly see. They might want to think, well actually, how does it perform after 300 miles? So yeah, let me know in the comments below and let's get that discussion going. If you enjoyed today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always I'll see you in the next one. Until then.